Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for defying the wonderful weather outside and coming physically to this event. This is a hybrid event, so we have lots of people joining us online as well. So we should just look around and imagine all the digital Teams faces that are placed around the room. My name is Siri Anchen, and I will lead you through the program that we have today. I represent EU Network Nordland, which is a network funded by Nordland County. And the county, as well as other organizations, work to increase the return of investment that we get from Horizon Europe. So we work to increase both the quality and quantity of the applications that actually go to end up in Nordland. We have a bit of a way to go, but there's a lot of high quality stuff that's also going on in the region, which you will hear some of these examples today. Irene, are you ready to talk about the Slido?
Yes. If you see, we have this system today for questions from the audience, and also we will have a short poll here to start with. So everyone can use their smartphones and enter the code HND or use a QR code. So the first question is already up here. So what country are you from? In the audience, we have most Norwegians. We have Finland and the US. Great. Yeah.
Poland's coming up
as well. Yeah.
Nice. Well.
So this is also open for the participation from the online people as well. We have Russia with us. That's great. So yeah, you have
you can just
maybe you could just take the next question. Yep. So what are your experience with the EU funding? Just take the temperature in the audience. Have you been involved in proposals before?
Wow. Wow.
I think this will change.
Oh, nice.
Lots of you have been involved in one or more proposals.
Yeah.
Even coordinated projects. And we have also some with no experience, and that is very okay. This is one of the reasons why we have this event today. So also to learn more. Okay, last question in the poll. So what are your expectations for today? Is it learn about writing proposal, grow your professional network, or even have, someone has ticked off all of them. Free food and drinks is a possibility. All of you want to learn more about writing proposal. That's very good to hear. So, so we have this poll. This was the last question for the poll, but as you can see on your smartphones, it is also possible to send in questions during this event through the Slido. So please use this for questions, and we will take questions from the audience, or for you those of you who are attending here physically, you can also just raise your hand and we can give you the mic if you want to ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so I give the word to you.
Thank you. And I will soon give the word further to someone else who I will shortly introduce. Maiken Bjørkan is a research professor at the Research Institute Nordlandsforskning, who is by no means a novice when it comes to EU funding, but they have recently received quite a big project that's coordinated from the Institute. So we look forward to hearing about your success criteria and to share your experiences with us. So go ahead. Then this is the pointer, and
how do I how can we do the magic and get my
presentation up?
Yes. So that's I think that's the old version.
Is it?
Yes, but that's okay. But I think it's better if we have time to put up the new one.
All right.
But the only thing that's changed is that I've added a couple of the of the EU projects. And she's working in the background trying to fix it. Doesn't really matter, but if we have time.
If you can start with introducing and then we'll fix.
So I'm invited to talk about the secrets of getting the big win, kind of. And I think I want to start with saying this is by no means something that you can do alone. It's been a teamwork. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. So I'm glad I'm standing here. I've been invited to present it, but it should have been a lot more people here together with me. But also I want to say that what I'm talking about is how I've done it. And I think before I started doing it, I was also asking other people how they did it. And I soon found out that I just have to do it my way. So take whatever is useful for you and find out your way of getting there. It's okay, Siri, you can just use the other one. Doesn't matter. Okay. Let's use the old one. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. So yes, so Siri introduced me very nicely, and I've talked a little bit about us being a team. It's not just me who wrote it, and please find your own way to getting a project like this. It's still hard to believe that, that feeling when you get this email from the EU. You say, congratulations. It was a very weird feeling. So I'm still trying to land a bit. So this is something that we have been working with at the Institute for about 5 years to get the expertise of applying for EU funds. Our work is funded by projects. So we work a lot with the calls from the Norwegian Research Council, but the last 5 years we've also been working a lot with the EU calls. So this means that we have been giving green light from the administration to spend hours, which is also expensive, to spend hours on reading the calls, taking courses, including the ones that you have been organizing, the Network Nordland 2020. And we all have also, this is a lot of new things when you want to work with EU project. It's a different way of working with budgets as well. So this also goes for the administrative personnel. You have to invest in them and the time. And like it says, success is contagious, and I think has very much been the case for us. I've tried to make this box. It's kind of like the foundation that that our project is standing on, and this has been important in order to for us. The project is called Empower Us. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that afterwards. But this is just a few of the EU projects that we have now. That was what I wanted to update. So we have also a EU project called Face It. We have Tipping Plus, I think. I can't remember all of them because I'm not involved at all in all of them. Luckily, I have more than enough with the ones that I'm part of. But the point of this is that we started we started having some projects, and then we've been able to have more and more, and then you invited into new consortium. So I think maybe that is one of the tips. Try to be involved in a consortium, and you will experience that if you deliver. That's point number one, deliver. If you say you're going to do something, do that. But then when we started working on Empower Us, I was the coordinator, And then a couple of other people in that consortium was working in a different consortium, and we were invited in a CSA for a project called Prep for Blue, and we also got that one, and that was going on simultaneously. So as long as you kind of deliver and you're being nice to work with, because it's quite simple, isn't it? People like to work with people that are nice to work with. Yes, so just quickly about our project. It's so it's called. I really wanted this project to have a name that I could remember, because I'm involved in so many projects. I don't know how long the name is, and you never remember what it really is. So the short name is Empower Us, and the long name is Socioeconomic Empowerment of the Users of the Sea. So it's not that bad. So our main research question is, what types of interventions enable empowerment of coastal communities to enact sustainable, balanced, and inclusive transitions? And this took us for ages to develop this research question. So I think, and one thing that is what took me at least some time to understand was that in the EU project, you don't work with a research question in the beginning. You kind of, it's a different entrance to the project. So just be, I don't know, just be patient with yourself and be curious and keep on developing that research question. Don't panic. Oh, I did feel panic sometimes, but so and also importantly, this research question is based on that call. We are answering what they want, and it's all based on this transition, the green transition, how to answer climate changes and so on. So this is what the EU wants with this particular call. And then we have living labs. We call them transition coastal labs, just a fancy name. And so we have case studies in Norway, in Finland, in Bulgaria, in Cyprus, in Spain, and in Ireland. And this is not a coincidence. We really had to think, this is also a political question, because the EU wants to see that you are kind of spread out in the EU. And when it comes to marine issues, fisheries, coastal communities, they are, you kind of have to know which of the countries are actually important. And you also have to, you should be placed in the key coastal regions. So, the Northern Sea, there we have 2 coastal labs, and then Mediterranean, that's also very important. We have one in the south and one in the east, and then also the Baltic Sea, Finland, and the Black Sea. So it's I think this is very, very important to really, really talk through with your consortium and think through who is going to be, where are you going to have your case studies or living labs or whatever you call them. And also, I just wanted to put out the key concepts here, because to be honest, I haven't been so TCLs, that's Transition Coastal Labs. We have something that we call tailored empowerment programs, and that's kind of a black box that we fill with stuff in order to answer the EU call. And then we have nature-based solutions, and I've never, maybe you've heard of it, but I just, you kind of intuitively understand what it is. But as I was reading through the text, the call text, and it took me several times to read that, I understood that this is this big, huge bunch of or it's a big theoretical approach that I've never heard of. So I had to go out and find out who are good at this. And then ocean literacy and nature connectedness. That's also 2 concepts that were new to me. And again, it's the same, be curious, try to understand what you're really saying, because the call text is typically very dense. So you really have to analyze it. And then we also have a digital solution that we call, is going to be like a digital twin. So we call it Empower Coast Digital Solution. So that's kind of the key elements in our proposal. Yes, some experiences. So when you're writing your application, you're going to find out quickly that you have 2 parts. it's part A, which is the portal. So like some would call it boring stuff. Some would call it the nice, interesting financial stuff. And then you have the part B, which is the scientific, the project description. So my first tip is that you really, really need to understand what problem the EU wants you to solve. And my main advice is read the call, because they are going to pay you a lot of money in order to fix something. These crazy people has given me 6 million euros to fix something. So now we have to do, have to use it for something. So I've been to quite a few courses, and they typically give you this advice that you should color code the text. That does not work for me. I just kept going back to what was the green again? What was the yellow? So, do it the way you want to do it. I think that's my main tip from that. And really analyze the text and go through it and find the videos, because they typically post videos online so you can find them. And also listen to your consortium, because you have a lot of expertise in your consortium, but then they are sometimes involved in several applications. So you have to be the expert on that typical call. So my experience was that they would come with suggestions, and then it's like, but that doesn't really fit our call. So then I had to go back and change. Well, it's not a part of this call. So you have to kind of be the expert of that. So listen to your consortium, and then your guts, and go back and check that it's correct. And then your consortium, keep having this rounds. We had several seminars, but maybe that doesn't fit you. Maybe you just want to be like this top down. Different ways of doing it. And then also find the right expertise. Like I said, well, we used Erin Innovation, which is a company, and they were brilliant and they were very helpful. But just find the right expertise for your consortium. Don't necessarily go and use your typical network. I had to go far beyond my typical network, and I've been working in different EU projects before I came there. And then the second tip is when you have written your text, then you share it with someone. Like you can have this service from a consultancy, and they will read it. And the one we had, she didn't have a clue about what we were reading about, we were writing about. So what I could take from her was that our proposal was very scientific, and she didn't understand anything. And we were using a concept we thought everybody in the EU was using, but so you just make sure that you are communicating with other people than like this ball of people that you're talking to every day. Yeah. So be pragmatic, not religious. Yes. So when it comes to the budget, I'll just wrap it up now. So the budget, just start early. And if you don't have experienced partner, make sure that you have someone to help them and hold their hand, because this is a lot of work and it's a lot for a lot of people. And when it comes to the portal, when you have to enter information, my main tip to you is don't open it up so people do it themselves. Just do it for them. Gather the information from your partners, and that'll save you a lot of time, actually. Yeah. So any questions, you can just ask them
on Slido.
On Slido.
Save it for the debate. Thank you so much. We will hear more from you in a little while. Next up, we are going to hear from another EU project from the region. This time we're going to go into we're still in the ocean, but it's a bit of a different sphere. So I'm going to introduce Bent Ove Jantli, that was heavily involved in the EU project called ArcSide, that deals with search and rescue. So Bent Ove, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Here's the... So, well, I represent ArcSAR, or I did. I started the project. It's the acronyms stands for Arctic Search and Rescue, but it also includes oil spill response as part of the emergency response in the Arctic. It's a network with a number of partners, altogether 21 partners. It's a good mix of first responders and academia, and also industry partners. So the industry partners both represent the cruise industry, who is a big operator, a big, what shall I say, they need some, not often, but from time to time, they need assistance from search and rescue. And then we have other industry partners, which provides technology that we can use in order to be more efficient in search and rescue, provide more safety to the operators in the Arctic and the environment. So it was on the EU Horizon 2020 call for security 21. The coordinator was the Joint Rescue Coordination Center Northern Norway, where I was at the time was director there. And we have the budget of €3.5 million and a 5-year period, which has been, because of the COVID-19, has been extended. It's created some problems for the activities. My project manager, who was really doing the administration work, was Irene here the first few years, and then now it's Emmy who is running the project, who's the project manager. I left the JRCC, so it's someone else. My predecessor is now the coordinator. ArcStar was the first formal Arctic and North Atlantic security and emergency preparedness network. And this is based on civilian emergency preparedness, and in this case, mainly search and rescue and oil spill response. And it's primarily for professional security and emergency response practitioners operating in the Arctic and North Atlantic region. So being a project coordinator from Norway is not the EU country, even though we are entitled to EU funding via the economic agreement that Norway is part of with the EU. So we Norway pays money into the Horizon 2020 project funding. But there are some rules. You have to have, since it's an EU project, you have to have a number of EU partners. So we had to have EU partners, and then you had to have in this case, first responders partners outside the region. The region here is North Atlantic and Arctic. So that's our first responder partner from outside the region was New Zealand. And we thought it was a good add-on to the project in the beginning because they have experience from the Antarctic. So we could learn from them and they could learn from us. But later, when we struggled with getting through the administrative fussy for the grant agreement, and the New Zealanders, they weren't too interested in going through this bureaucracy. So we said, okay, let's skip them then. But that wasn't possible because we needed them dearly, because they were the partner outside the region, the first responder partner outside the region that we have. So there are some rules we need to adhere to. But as soon as they got settled, they have been a very good partner, of course. So we are really happy that we have the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center in New Zealand with us. So there are 21 partners from 13 countries, and we have some add-ons. What do you call the partners, which are kind of associated partners? So about 90 associated partners with the project. So, and we also have the US and Canada with us, and as I said, New Zealand. The rest of the partners is within the European area. Russia is also a partner in this project. It's a university in St. Petersburg, Maritime University there. So what is the ArcStar project doing? is trying to, the first was to establish a network. And we made this innovation arena where you can go in and as a partner or associated partner, go in and suggest innovation ideas, or you can post challenges that you need a solution to. And that's a portal called the ArcStar Innovation Arena. Yeah. And then during the first period of the project, we did the mapping of the practitioner needs for innovation and knowledge exchange. And then we had some seminars and workshop for knowledge exchange using the especially the academia partners we have in the project. And then the next phase was to which is going on right now, I believe, is to map and identify issues or methods, technology, procedures for uptake. And then the end result will be recommendations for innovation in technology, methods, and procedures, including recommendations for standardization of policy. So, so that was the project. So now I've spent all the time, maybe. Yeah, I'll wrap up fast. Criteria for success. Firstly, we had the partner from academia, Nord University, who was kind of helping us writing the application. That was really helpful because as first responder organization, we didn't know anything about that. And then we used an expert consultant, Irish, Halbert Consultants. It's a married couple who is very good at giving advice. So they helped us having the red thread through the application. So it was, yeah, so that was really helpful. So everything we wanted to do, they were able to help us formalize in a good way in the application. And then you need to have knowledge about and access to relevant partners through your own network. In this case, we had kind of 3 networks that we used, the JRCC network with all the other rescue coordination centers in Europe and abroad, and the US, Canada, and so on. And then we had the Nord University with the University in the Arctic network, and the IACO, the Association for Arctic Expedition Cruise Operators. So there's about 55 cruise agencies, cruise operators. So that was good networks to run with. Challenges. It was challenging to put together all this network using Skype or Teams, and then you had the time differences. To work with New Zealand, we had to meet them late in the evening, and then it was morning in New Zealand, so on. So it's kind of a challenge, but it worked. And then you had this administrative hurdle to understand the EU administration and how to kind of fit into the roles. They were, to have a budget role, you have to have all these kind of roles. Now, I don't remember all them, but we struggled a lot, and the same did all at least the first practitioner partners who had no experience with EU projects from before. But it was cumbersome, but we managed to jump the hurdle, and Irene is the person to thank for that, I guess. Yeah, so it was difficult to get all the documentation the EU administration and the Commission needed, and then for a first responder organization, the reporting requirements is really hard to fulfill. So it was the demand for us actually as a first responder organization to use some of the funding to employ a manager, an administrative manager for a project. That was needed in order for us to go on with this project. So thank you.
Thank you. As time goes, it's less and less eye contact with the person with the clock. But thank you so much, Bent Ove. We will hear more from you in a little while.
Yep.
We have a third participant that works in Bodø municipality, and Bodø municipality is actually in the top 10 of public institutions in Norway that receives the most EU funding. So I think we have a lot to learn from you, and you're gonna share some of your experiences. Thank you, Tor. There you go.
Thank you. Yes. My name is Tor Gausemel Christensen. I'm the project manager of 2 separate projects in Bodø municipality, one being funded by Horizon 2020 and the other being funded by Interreg. Currently, I'm actually in paternity leave, but I'm glad you invited me here so that I could get out of the house, really. It's refreshing to be here. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little about the circular economy and sustainability projects that we have in Bodø municipality, because it's mainly those projects we do have. This is some of our projects, at least. The one that is in bold font is funded by EU. And we have the Be Water Smart project that is funded by Horizon 2020, that is within the field of wastewater treatment. We have City Loops, the project of which I use most of my time, where we look at technology, sustainability, and how to develop and use technology and tools and methods for us to practice more sustainable. And also we have the other project that I'm managing as well, Indusero, that is funded by Interreg, that's trying to connect different regions abroad in or around in the EU and establish collaborations between regions. We also have Circulus. It's not an EU project, but I just wanted to mention it because just to exemplify that all these projects we have here is somewhat connected. They are related to each other. So while I work with circular economy, we're mainly on focus on CDV, construction and demolishing waste. Circulus is within the field of we have a more technical approach to reuse there, where we're trying to technically evaluate the reusability of concrete. And SEN is also related. SEN is a project managed by NTNU that looks into energy sharing and how we can optimize energy networks in Bodø. We also have these other projects that I'm not going to talk much about, but all these projects are somehow connected to each other because, for example, City Loops, where we're working a lot with technology and digital twins. I heard that you, Mike, and also we're looking into that digital twins, so we should hook up. All these projects can possibly and hopefully use each other and use each other's competence. Okay, so here is the key to get good EU project. It's the Holy Trinity. I'm not a biblical person, but I Googled the Holy Trinity and got this sign, but I'm going to use this in this context now. The Holy Trinity of getting EU projects is to have a good application, as Maiken said, and Björn. To have good partners, like Nordlandsforskning, that is a partner in both Indusero and City Loops that I mentioned, because you're so much smarter than us. So you've helped us so much on writing these applications. So that has been crucial for us to get EU projects, getting your feedbacks and using and sharing competence. only it's you sharing with us, not us sharing with you. And a good case, that in Bodø we have a good case. We have many good cases, but we have maybe the most famous, the new airport, new city. While there is some uncertainty in this project, we are sure that we will develop a new city. The new airport, new city is the demonstration project for both city loops and Indus-Zero, meaning that all the things that we're developing and the methods that we're using in these projects, we're going to test, and we're going to physically test in a living lab or whatever you call it, a demonstration site. Are Horizon projects scary? I thought they were, because I heard so much about when I worked in Nordlandsforskning. I think they were more scary than now, because I think they have made the reporting more efficient. That is at least my experience, because to be honest, Interreg is more there's more bureaucracy there than in Horizon 2020 project. That is at least my experience now. So I was actually kind of surprised that there wasn't more reporting than what it is. So I want to underline the fact that it's not scary. Many people are afraid of these kinds of projects because they think that there will be so much administrative work, but it's less than you think, I believe. Okay. Another thing that we always, when we apply for project, that we always take into consideration is problem before project and not the other way around, meaning that we need to have a challenge. We don't want to get funding for a project that creates a problem for us, where we need to have a problem. And our problem is that we want to, for example, reuse more of the masses and materials from the military the demonstration site, that I call it, the military area. We know that we want that. That's because that's in line with Bodø municipality's ambitions due to circularity, and that is why we applied for a project like City Loops, because that is in line with our already existing challenge and ambitions and priorities. So if you apply for a project that is not in line with your priorities, you'll end up just getting a problem. You'll end up just having funding for something that really doesn't serve you as a participant. So we always think that we don't just want to be a part of an academic publication. We also want the projects to create real values for us. Yeah, this is some of Bodø municipality's focus areas. And we can all see that these EU projects, City Loops, Be Water Spot, and Indus-Zero, are related to our priorities. We want to be smarter. We want to have good tools for city planning. We want a better quality of life, and we want to gather data about how the quality of life is here in Bodø. And all these projects have tools and methods that is related to this. And sadly, I don't have time, but I would love to demonstrate for you the digital twin, because that is a really innovative way of thinking city planning and mapping of materials and masses. Okay. Yeah, okay. Do you have 1 minute or no? 30 seconds. Okay. So this is our focus. We look at sustainable procurement. That was already an existing priority for us, and it's something that really has been our participation in the project to really serve that purpose, because we've used forces in that project to gather data about how good we are at sustainable procurement. We've made recommendations, and we're trying to implement these recommendations at least. Yes. Okay. This is just the last part there. Maiken, you said success is contagious, and it is, because when we have our project, we have prestige, and it's easy for us to get more funding from other departments. So this is just, or other actors. So these 5 actors you can see here, Enova, funding from the municipal department and so on, is it's municipal and modernization department, is because we've shown that we have gotten funding before, and that strengthens our applications. Thank you so much.
You're not going anywhere.
Ah.
You're all being called back up, and please sit. And we're gonna have a little round of questions. Just have some water, some refreshment, and thank you all. At least I learned a lot from your different presentations. So now you've found a call that represents your problem, like you were saying, you found the right call. Now there's this consortium part. So each of you have different experiences with fitting into and finding and collaborating with a consortium. Could you share a little bit more about that experience? Like how do you fit in and find the right consortium? If you can start, Maiken.
So, I think one of the things that surprised me is that it's quite a political process. So because when we first, when I was approached, or somebody approached me to ask if I was willing to coordinate projects. So there was already 3 partners there, but nobody wanted to coordinate. So, so there were 3 partners there already, but then I kind of took over the project. But then, like I said in my presentation, you kind of discovered these kind of gaps where we didn't have the partners that we needed in the consortium in order to answer the call. So then you kind of just reach out, and I used all the connections I could think of. But we also, again, reading the call over and over again, and not just like the specific call for you, but also like the entire. No, I can't remember the name. The everything that introduces all the calls.
Yeah.
So and there you can I even studied the footnotes, and in the footnotes I found that they wanted us to have some projects, or they said that this is like our favorite project in the EU, and then I discovered that I knew someone that I could draw on that. So that was lucky. But like I said, it's also very political. People try to swallow us. We were invited into meetings. They wanted us to become a part of their consortium. So a lot of things like that was going on as well. That took time. So it's a very political process, more than I knew.
Yeah. What about you, Bent Ove? You mentioned some of the challenges with working with a partner from outside of the EU, but what about the partners within the EU? Do you have some experiences to share?
Yeah, it was different. Of course, we had very good partners within the EU who had been involved in these kind of projects before, so they were very, very helpful. But there were also an experience, especially the first responder organizations. So and then we had the Brexit coming up in the middle of this. So that was also a challenge, but fortunately we were able to have 2 British partners joining anyway. So it was the University in Portsmouth and the British Coast Guard. And but that was kind of challenging because they really didn't know how to along in the Brexit process. It kind of delayed some decisions.
Of course.
But in general, I think the EU partners, especially from Finland, they were really experienced in this. So that was really helpful for us.
So drawing on the real experience of some partners and getting to know their levels of skills. And what about you, Tor?
I totally agree with you. It's about finding the gaps and trying to identify what we lack in our consortium and try to find who holds this competence that we need. So in City Loops, for example, that is the Horizon 20 project that I'm using most of my time on in Bodø. We knew that we were a regulative organization or a legal, and we knew that we had to have an academic partner, but we also wanted in the consortium to have a partner that works operationally with construction and demolishing waste, and therefore Iris, the waste manager, was invited and is a partner in this project. But this is only Bodø. In the whole City Loops project, there's some 26 partners, and we're represented in 7 different cities, and it is ECLI that is coordinating the project. I think they've also tried to think in the same way that we shall fulfill each other's competence. That is why we have 17 tools that we make in City Loops, where we the development of these tools has been delegated to the partners that have competence in that field, and then we're now trying to learn from each other and try to replicate the different partners' development of tools and methods.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm kind of feeling like we're skipping a part where we've found our consortium, what I'm finding myself being curious of. So how do you work to get these contacts, and what has been particularly important to actually get into a position to be able to pick up the phone and ring someone who you know can help you with this? Mike, do you have any?
I think you just have to be. It depends on your personality. I mean, you're all different, yeah. But I suppose I don't have any. I don't mind.
Yeah.
But if you. It's always helpful to have like a door opener. If you have somebody who can introduce you, and then you can, it makes it easier. Like use some of your old contacts and see if you can get like a backdoor in or something. But yeah.
Has it been important for you to be in Brussels a lot, or have you managed to get, these types of networks through other?
Well, to be totally honest, I suppose I should say it's been super important to me. But honestly, what has been important for me is to use my network from when I was a postdoc at the University of Tromsø. I was part of a big EU project, and that has been the most important contact net for me ever since. And then I've been part of Interreg projects or other projects at Nordlands Research Institute, and use that kind of use your network, but also be a bit forward, and ask and just.
Absolutely. And that's why we're here. We're here to find the real success factors. Anyone can read that you should be in Brussels a lot, or you should do this and this. Actually utilizing your own personal network from before could be equally important, as far as I understand you. What about you? So how did you find this opportunity, or how did it?
Actually, it was we had already established a very good relationship with Nord University in emergency preparedness, and they have this master degree in emergency preparedness. So we had they were already a good partner for the joint rescue coordination. So they come up with the idea to apply for this project with us as a project coordinator. So that kind of initiated. So we didn't have a clue when in the beginning. So we got really a lot of help from Nord University. And Catherine Donnelly was then the EU coordinator at the university. So, and she had the kind of the network within the Norwegian Research Agency and all this. So that was very helpful. And then I had the network within the emergency response that I used, but I also sent a number of emails to different emergency response organizations, and I got some replies, some didn't reply. So that was And then Nord University used their network within the University of the Arctic, universities of the Arctic.
Yeah.
So they got a lot of partners from there. And then we had, I had some network within the cruise industry and also some technology providers. So we use those as well. So.
We have some questions from the room. Irene, if you could.
Yes, there is 6 questions registered. First one is how to make sure that the estimated budget for resources and tasks is realistic.
Well, anyone feel a call?
Yeah.
You started your project. You go ahead. Was it realistic?
I think it was quite realistic because we had so many partners. So we were able to kind of spend all that. And then I think some of them didn't really were not able to kind of use the budget. But some of them used more than they.
Yeah.
So it was balanced in a way, but and it's still not finished. So it's all up to Emmy here to find out it comes into balance at the end. But yeah, as first responders or partners, they weren't not that really into budgeting. But academic partners from academia, they knew what they were doing. So it was a little bit different from partner to partner.
I also think it's about budgeting skills as well.
Yeah.
So you need to, like in any other business where budgets is a thing, you need to do calculations and you need to act in line with these calculations. So you shouldn't underestimate the skills of economist or someone that knows how to set up budget and knows how to take into consideration all these factors that will affect the budget.
I just wanted to add that now, like you've been funded by Horizon 2020, but my project is the first one, or like this is the first course that have been funded under Horizon Europe. So it's, you know, there are some changes. Some of the manuals still hasn't, the like guidelines aren't ready. So that's been an issue actually for us. So a lot of the stuff that was valid, the budget stuff that was valid when you did your things has changed. So if you're thinking about writing an application now, I think it's important to just like update yourself and read the new guidelines.
Okay, that's a very good tip.
Okay, next question. How to find the most relevant companies or consultants to help writing the proposal, especially regarding specific topics?
Yeah, it's a jungle out there with probably a lot of people claiming that they're the right person to help you. But was it both of you that had good experiences with those that ended up? How did you? Was it luck or recommendations? What prompted you to choose these very good consultants, Maiken?
For me, it was easy because, I used 2 consultancies. The one is Erin Innovation, and I have no problem like just promoting them because they've been extremely helpful. They were the one that contacted me in order to ask if I would be the coordinator of the project. And they are a consultancy that they are part of the whole life cycle of the project. So they typically are part of writing the project. They help you, support you in that whole process. And then they are also part of the actual process. So they can help you in every step of the way. So for me, that has been very useful, but they are kind of good in marine issues. They have a lot of EU projects when it comes to marine and coastal issues, but also other projects. And then it was the Norwegian Research Council. They have a contract with another consultancy, and that was a very different process. And a lot of people get a lot of good help from that. But for me, that didn't do anything. I didn't use them. So it's just different.
It's an important thing to also, I think you're highlighting, which is actually working with a good consultancy can also help you build your network, and actually they can create opportunities for you. So that's an interesting point. Bent Ove, what about you?
I actually, I don't remember exactly, but I think the consultant we used, the Halbert couple in Ireland, they were one of a few recommendations. And when we were speaking to them, we find out that they were the most, they were able to understand what we wanted. So, but I think the most later, after we did this, we were asked by many consultants if we wanted to join other networks or projects. And then it was always a consultant agency that kind of initiated the projects and collected all the partners. But for us, it was different. We used this consultant agency in Ireland, and they were really good, I would say.
Good to know.
So, but that was, we applied 2 times. So it was the second time when we used those. First time we didn't use any consultant agency, and we got good score, but not enough.
Yeah. Do we have time for one more question?
Yes. This is for Tor. You mentioned in your presentation that Interreg has more bureaucracy than the Horizon program. Could you elaborate more on this?
Yeah, so I took over the Indus0 project just a few months ago because Silje Munkvold, that managed it before me, has started in another company. And my experience, I just actually finished a progress report today. So it might have felt more overwhelming because I have the paternity leave, but the thing is that what I experience is that it is more demands to what has to be reported, and also there's all these signatories. You have to have a financial signatory and an authorized signatory and all that. You do have to have that in Horizon project as well. But I found it easier to delegate these things in Horizon than in Interreg, and also Interreg. My Interreg project, at least, has more. I have to make more reports in that than in the Horizon 2020 project. So the sum of all that concludes that it's more administrative work with Interreg than Horizon 2020.
Okay, thank you. Do any of you have recommendations for courses for proposal writing? Have you attended some of them, or any experience in?
I have attended one, but I think maybe several. I'm not sure. But I think it depends on where you are yourself in your career. Like if you could. The last one I attended, I didn't fit into it because I was too experienced. And at the same time, I was looking for something that, and I think at some point you just need to go and do it. But I think that there are quite a few good courses. I don't know if you have a good tip.
I actually took a course it's over 3 years ago now. I don't know if the course exists anymore, but it was at the university. It was 10 waypoints. I think the name of the course was How to Get the Good EU Projects or something. Does that exist anymore? Okay.
No, it did, but it's some years ago, yes. So it doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
But hopefully we'll manage to create a new one.
Yeah, because I learned quite a lot from that course, and also, but we have the good courses from the Norwegian Research Council as well. I've attended some courses within the field of financing and administrative tasks. And I found them pretty helpful as well. Yeah, and they're free. So
I just remember the best course that I've attended, and again, so Erin Innovation isn't paying me or anything, but and I should really keep them as a secret for ourselves.
Yeah.
But the Erin Innovation, they have a course, and that was very helpful. But it was so I think it's some for me it's that all the course is like somehow abstract when you're just listening to it. So but when I was writing it, that was the one course that I could go back to the foils and I could like really use them.
Yeah.
So that was, but it's
Yeah.
abstract when you're taking it, but you kind of really need it. And I just wanted to add one thing that I didn't mention earlier, and you touched upon it. It's when you get the grant or you get the application, but then you have to start the grant agreement, and that's very complicated. There's a lot of legal issues that you have to address. And then you might also need a consultancy. So it's very, that's a part that's quite under communicated, I think. So just be aware if you're going to coordinate.
Be prepared on that.
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate?
No, that is true what she says. That was the most difficult thing, I think. Because then you have this time limit, you're closing in all the time. So it's and you get all this mails from the EU. You need to get this in order fast and so on. So you are really stressed.
Adrenaline pumping. Yeah. I have one final question for everyone, which is so now you've finally, in a way, gotten through the hurdle, and you've got projects that are more or less mature and you're at different places in the process. But what does it mean for your organizations? What have your organizations learned from being part of this? How important is it, Tor?
Well, as I've mentioned, we always try to make the project make values in other places in the municipality as well. And until now, we're pretty successful in that, I believe. Because, as I showed you at the Venn diagram, these things that we're working on in this project serves these values that we have. So one example on that is that we in the new airport, new city, let's focus on new city project. We've used City Loop's resources to create a mass handling plan that is to be used in the new city project. That is because we have so much competence in the new in City Loops that we could use that competence to serve Bodø. So that is one of the things that's generated values for us.
What about for you?
I think this cooperation lifted the emergency preparedness level of professionalism and efficiency through learning from other organizations, taking in innovation, learning how to develop, improve, and see what kind of capacities can we share in this area in the Arctic and North Atlantic, and so I think it lifted the safety and for everyone operating in the area, seafarers, and because the whole system improved via this network and the kind of knowledge exchange that happened.
I think as a research institute, it kind of ticks off several boxes because this is kind of what we live of, getting projects. So we kind of tick off different boxes within the Norwegian Research Council and what we need to do in order to be like an approved research institute. But I think, well, it's early days and all that, but for us, it's also, I mean, we can get we can hire people, and more specifically, we can hire, get more people to where I have been able to open an office at Campus Helgeland in Mo i Rana. So now we have employed 2 more people that are going to come and work together with me there. And I think also our consortium, like we all are like, our hearts are with the coastal community, so we just can't wait to get out there and actually empower the coastal communities. So that's really, really nice.
Yeah, it's sometimes hard to maybe get caught a bit in this process of, oh God, we'll need to get this funding, and actually maybe forget that the reason why we do this is to create knowledge to be used in our communities, in our region, to respond to some of these huge challenges that surrounds us. Would you do it again? Yes or no?
Well, we have this. We're still in that process of getting the grant, but we have the Brexit issue, which is very complicated. So I'm still living and breathing this issue. So, but yes, I would do it again.
Yeah.
Yes, I would do it again if. Now I'm in a different organization, but if opportunity arises, then yeah.
I see no downside in participating in such project, and actually my whole salary is financed by these projects, so I kind of need them.
Yeah, very good motivation there. On behalf of the region and behalf of everyone, I would like to say well done, because it's nothing. It's not a small achievement what you've all been a part of. So thank you for bringing this knowledge into our region. And yeah, I mean it. And it's really important that you've also agreed to participate and to join and inspire others to do the same. So I would like to say thank you, and let's give the panel a big applause and be very loud. Now we have a new challenge on our hands. Digital participants can't eat. Or they can, but not from our table. And we've ordered lots of delicious food for those who are out in the sun and maybe skiing a little bit instead of listening to our excellent panel. So now let's get to know one another and have some food. You're allowed to put some in your pocket and take it home. You know, it's so please, let's not leave straight away, but use the occasion to mingle a little bit. So thank you very much for today.